one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it because you can.
Okay, guys, there's an update to a story I did about a VU, VU. I did it a while back, and video footage will be in the description box and a link. That's from the Hodge twins on YouTube. But apparently the cop has resigned. Now, VU, is seen tapping Gibson's vest with the back of his hand and saying, "Shut up." Remember, shut up, you shut up. And then Gibson is seen grabbing Vu's arm and slamming him to the ground. Vu suffered a C1 fracture, an orbital fracture, and a brain bleed as a result of the use of force incident. He also had to have surgery, and his attorney says he's still in poor health. The NBC4 story is also in a link in the description box. Now, the department placed Sergeant Gibson on administrative leave pending the outcome of internal criminal and administrative investigations that would determine potential charges or disciplinary actions. In December of just this last year, Oklahoma County District Attorney Vicky Behenna charged Gibson with aggravated assault and battery without sending the case to the grand jury. How about that? In a news release, Behenna said the amount of force Gibson used was not reasonable. A probable cause affidavit argued that a longtime veteran in the police department, he had also investigated and spoken with de escalation control and defensive tactics instructors within the department, which found the use of force unreasonable. Hear that? Now, the affidavit said Gibson was in robust health while Vu was in poor health. Also in December, Oklahoma Attorney General Gentner Drummond went over Behenna's head and dropped the charges. Drummond argued that Gibson acted within the scope of his training and that Vu never should have put his hands on Gibson. Well, probably not, but you shut up. That's not worth getting slammed for. Quote, as Attorney General, I will not permit Oklahoma police officers to face criminal prosecution for conduct adhering to their training. No, he went above and beyond, in my opinion. Now, he goes on, while the outcome of this incident is unquestionably devastating for Mr. Vu and his family, I do not believe the officer exhibited criminal intent. Now, a spokesperson for Drummond's office has declined interviews to explain the matter further. And there's more of the story that goes down in this news story. I'll put a link to the NBC4 news story in the description box, along with the footage from Hodge twins. Officers are trained when somebody in a situation like that puts their hand on you, you've got to relax or react, said Hunter. Hunter said he joined the team after carefully reviewing the video and became convinced that Gibson didn't act outside the scope of his authority. Now, he used excessive force, in my humble opinion. He said that in this situation, all that needed to occur was for Vu to sign the citation, and it would have been referred to a hearing. At the hearing, a determination would have been made on whether or not he was at fault. Quote, Sergeant Gibson, I thought, was very patient. Yeah, okay. Did his best to reason with the individual, said Hunter. News 4 team pressed Hunter at the time about the findings in the affidavit, which he said were simply opinions, and that his team had experts who were saying the opposite. News 4 was the first Oklahoma news outlet to report that Gibson has resigned from the department. A police department spokesperson initially only noted Gibson was no longer with the department after a request for an update on his employment status on Monday. News that was yesterday, I guess Monday. News 4's John Hayes asked the spokesperson for clarification on whether that change was the result of a termination or voluntary. The spokesperson said Gibson was not terminated. Of course, he stands the thin blue line. They're not going to terminate him. But it did go to the grand jury finally. I read somewhere where, yeah, the grand jury was looking at it. But either way, the police department saying, oh, we didn't terminate him, but he resigned. I believe he resigned to avoid prosecution. or avoid a suspension or whatever, but he resigned. And you know what? He can be a cop in the next city over and say, I voluntarily resigned from my position at the police department. That's why he resigned. So then when he goes to get another job, he won't say, well, I was terminated. He'll say, no, I resigned. But that's an update to this story. And again, in the description box, there are two links, one to the Hodge twins who have the video of it, and the News 4 I-Team. I just wanted to give this to you right away. It's breaking news from late yesterday or early this morning. I don't know.